meet you here. During today's short lecture, I will briefly explain about the inflammation of the gastrointestinal system. There are different types of inflammatory disorders of the digestive system, and I will briefly explain each type. We know that our gastrointestinal system helps the body to process food and absorb the nutrients. Now, the stomach contains this strong acid, which is called the hydrochloric acid, and it can break down the food from big chunk into smaller components. The small intestine helps to absorb the nutrients and then transmit the nutrients into the bloodstream to be delivered to the rest of the body. The large intestine actually helps to eliminate the waste products and then reabsorb the water back to the body. So the waste products will be eliminated from the large intestine through the anus as the feces. Now, this is a whole digestive system. Now today we're going to talk about the inflammation. So what is inflammation? Inflammation can be either acute or chronic. That means when the pathogens, either virus or bacteria or the toxins, actually travels into your body, it can cause damage to the body tissue, and then your immunity start to fight against these pathogens. And meanwhile, your immunity actually release a lot of different chemicals. Now, these chemicals, including the white blood cells, now these chemicals can both kill the pathogens, the toxins, and also it can cause harm to our own body tissue and own organs. So this is called the inflammation. So inflammation actually can damage our own body organs and tissues. So inflammation can be either long-term or short-term. And if the toxins or the pathogens stay long time inside our gastrointestinal system, it can cause chronic inflammation, and this could trigger very uncomfortable feeling and further problems. Now we know what is inflammation. Now we're going to talk about different types. The first type I want to mention is the stomach ulcer. So what is an ulcer? Now, stomach ulcer happens in the stomach. The ulcer is like erosion on the stomach wall. Now we know that the internal, there is one, actually the lining, the epithelium. That lining actually covers the internal wall of the stomach to help to prevent the acid from eroding our own stomach. So this acid is really strong, but our own stomach doesn't get eroded by our own acid. Why is that? Because the stomach has an internal lining. This lining actually is an epithelium. Now this lining acts like a barrier to prevent the acid from eroding our own stomach. However, if there is some pathogen like bacteria or virus or the irritating food or the alcohol, now these substances could damage this lining and then make the acid to travel inside and then break down our own stomach wall. So when the erosion actually develops, now this erosion is called the ulcer. So what could cause this ulcer? Now different reasons, like I said, the virus, bacteria, the irritating food, or the alcohol, because alcohol is really damaging. It can actually harm your stomach. Alcohol actually can harm all different organs. So alcohol is really bad. Now there's one very common bacteria that could cause the ulcer. Now this bacteria is called the Helicobacter pylori. The short term is the H. pylori. H. pylori is a very common bacteria that account for 90% of the ulcer for stomach and the small intestine. So this is a very, very important bacteria that triggers the gastric ulcers, especially for stomach and small intestine. Now, this bacteria, the Helicobacter pylori, now this bacteria actually exists in a lot of people's bodies. A lot of people actually carry it without even being aware of it. This bacteria doesn't normally cause problems. So a lot of people actually got it from the childhood, because it normally travels into the body through the contaminated water or contaminated food. So if the food is not well cooked, or if the food actually is expired, it can actually contain this bacteria and then can travel down through eating. Also, this bacteria travels between people to people through oral contact or through the fecal oral contact. So if someone actually don't wash hands after toilet, they easy to actually get this bacterial travels in the gastric system. So it's very important we have to maintain good hand hygiene and always eat clean and clean food and well cooked food. Very important. And don't even, like, if for people actually always share belongings, share utensils, share food and eat through the same utensil, now these people also have higher risk. So hygiene is an important part. That's why children easy to get it, because children don't pay enough attention to hand washing and hygiene. So like I said, this bacteria actually can stay in the body for a long time, and also it's actually common for, like, a lot of people have this bacteria, but only a small amount of people actually develop the disease. Now, when it actually cause problem, it can form the ulcer. Now, especially like I said, for the stomach and for the small intestine. Now, the next one I want to introduce is the peptic ulcer. Now, peptic ulcer, this ulcer actually, peptic ulcer can develop either on the stomach or on the first section of the small intestine. Now, we know that the first section of the small intestine is the duodenum. So if the ulcer develop on the duodenum, like if there is erosion here or on the stomach wall, now if the ulcer happens on this both area, now we can call it the peptic ulcer. So same thing, Helicobacter pylori is the most common bacteria that triggers the peptic ulcer. The third one I want to introduce is the inflammation for the large intestine. Now, the third one is called the Crohn's disease. Crohn's disease. What is Crohn's disease? Now, Crohn's disease actually is different. It is not caused by H. pylori. Now, when we know that H. pylori only account for the ulcer for stomach and small intestine, but Crohn's disease actually can also happen for large intestine. It's like a chronic inflammation for both. For the whole, Crohn's disease can happen for the whole digestive system, but it mostly occurs for the small intestine and large intestine. And Crohn's disease is different with other ulcers. Now, this is inflammation caused by different reasons, and the main reason is still unknown, but people believe that the main cause of Crohn's disease is the dysfunction of the immune system. So if people's own immunity doesn't work properly, the own immunity can also cause damage to their own gastric organs. So it's mainly caused by the immunity dysfunction. So this is like Crohn's disease. So remember, Crohn's disease is different with the stomach or peptic ulcer because it's not caused by the H. pylori. Okay, a Crohn's disease can happen for different parts of your gastric system, but mostly occurs for the large bowel and the small bowel, some part of the small bowel as well. Now, the last one I want to introduce is called the ulcerative colitis. Ulcerative colitis is also a chronic inflammation for the bowel, but it only happens for the large bowel. Now, large bowel is our large intestine, which is also called the colon. So ulcerative colitis is an inflammation for the large bowel, the colon only. It doesn't happen for the other parts, doesn't happen for the small intestine, only for the large bowel. And it's also it's also inflammation, but can be caused by different reasons. So doctors believe that stress, emotional stress, diet, lack of exercise, poor lifestyle, these things could all possibly trigger Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. However, the main reason is unknown, and the main reason that is believed by the doctors is that it is normally believed that our own immunity problem, the dysfunction of the own immunity system is a main cause. It can trigger the Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, and it can damage our own bowel, the own large bowel, and make it become inflamed. Now, so these are the 4 common inflammatory problems for the gastric system. I hope you could have a now better understanding. So if we want to have a healthy bowel, healthy stomach, what should we do? Again, make sure keep clean, wash hands, have good hygiene. Don't eat contaminated food. Make sure the food is well cooked and clean. Never eat the food which is expired. And if you actually want to save the food, you have to save in the fridge. Okay, don't eat raw food. Don't eat the food which is left for over 2 hours. Okay, have to save in the fridge if you want to eat the food overnight. Also, good hand washing. After toilet, always wash hands. Always wash hands. Another thing, don't share your own utensils and your food with other people. Okay, eat your own food. Don't share with others. And also, don't drink alcohol. Alcohol is very irritating for the bowel and the stomach. Very irritating. So alcohol can cause ulcers and irritating problem. Don't drink alcohol. Another thing is that really important, maintain a good immunity. So have a strong immune system. Your immunity is strong. It can help you to fight against pathogens. So have enough exercise, maintain good sleep, have enough rest, don't overwork, always have good lifestyle, and also keep a nice diet. So a lot of people actually wants to consume a lot of fatty food or spicy food or irritating food. Try to keep a nice and balanced diet and take all different types of nutrients and keep a healthy diet, and try to avoid too much irritating food or spicy food as well, because they could actually irritate your stomach and bowel. So I hope now this lecture could help you to understand a little bit about inflammatory problem for the digestive system. Thank you for listening.